This topic has been highly requested. Everyone's been commenting, DMing me on Instagram about this topic. It truthfully could be a 2 hour long live stream just covering this topic, which is how do you go from being a solo videographer and making that transition, working with larger crews as a full-time cinematographer, balancing big projects, 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 budgets, and working with 10, 20, 30, 40 crew members on one particular set on a 10-hour day. The transition that is really hard to understand how to do, because it's something that you, one, have to put the work in. You have to be able to build your portfolio and your reel, and it's not something you can just Google or YouTube and learn that information. It's something that you really need real world advice, and I'm going to try to answer some of your questions and provide you with some valuable feedback on what has helped me on my journey. I'm still growing, I'm still learning, I'm still not doing the biggest, Mercedes-Benz and giant campaigns, Super Bowl commercials, but I want to work my way towards that as well. So let's get into it. Few people did leave some comments on my YouTube post. So if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and you can feel free to leave me any comments and I'll try to answer them in future videos. So Leonel Hurd asked, do you have any tips on making the move from 2 to 4-ish crew member projects to bigger productions with 10 plus people? I'm currently in a state where I'm comfortable DPing for a director with smaller projects or together with friends as helping hands setting up lights. But how do you transition to leading bigger teams with specialized gaffer, grips, ACs who have been mostly longer in the industry than myself? Would love to hear some insights. This is a great question because it summarizes where I was probably just a year-ish ago. I didn't DP my first real set until February of 2024. I had about 7-8 people on that project, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking. I was a little bit overwhelmed stepping onto set, knowing that I had to lead a few different people that I'm used to when it was just me, my camera, and maybe like a PA or two help me on most of my projects. So I know exactly what that feeling is like. And you actually kind of answer it right here, where it's like, how do you transition to leading bigger teams with specialized gaffers, grips, ACs? And that is what you should be trying to do, which is work with people much more experienced and have the knowledge and capabilities that could help you bring your vision to life. If you don't have that technical expertise just yet, you might be hired as a DP and you get to pick your own crew, your gaffer, your AC. Really just surround yourself and try to reach out to crew members locally that you know who have been doing it for a longer time. If you need to hire a gaffer, feel free to reach out to a gaffer and tell them that, hey, I might not be fully experienced on the technical side of lighting just yet, but I know kind of what I'm going for. Share treatment, share mood board images with them, and I'm sure they'll be glad to help you get on the project and bring it to life. More important now to start building those relationships as you're growing and start really flooding yourself with people who have that advice and techniques that you'll start being able to bring into your other sets, and which is what I've done. I've tried to surround myself with people who are just much more experienced than me while I started building out my crew locally in New York or Philly, and just being able to have people I can rely on creatively and also technically while I'm continuing to learn and get better as a DP myself. Second question, how do you remember every piece of equipment you'll need to rent for your setups? Are you consulting your crew, gaffer, key grip, first AC? Have you standardized this process on some kind of spreadsheet? You don't need to know every single piece of equipment or actually how to use it. It's actually better if you start experimenting. When you get ideas, you can go to your local rental house, reach out to them, say, I need a prep day, I need a build day, I need to mess around with different lenses or different jibs or dollies, and just build relationships with your rental house, because in the future, I'm sure they'll be glad to support you with anything you might need to rent and give you a discount because you've been loyal, you've been consistently going to them to rent equipment. Figure out what it is that can make your project that you're about to do next go up to another level, just because you added a certain piece of equipment that can now make that shot come to life, whether it's with lighting, with movement, or just with blocking or lenses. There's so many different pieces of equipment that all comes together to make one shot happen. So don't worry about remembering every single piece of gear. And again, consult your gaffers, consult your key grips, consult people around you that you are gonna crew with on your team for a certain set. I'm always reaching out when I come up with an idea, even if I don't have a project, let's say, that I'm gonna shoot. I just reach out to some of my friends who are gaffers or key grips. And I'm like, hey, I wanna do a double dolly, certain type of shot. I wanna do, overhead shot. I wanna do through, some chessboard shot. Like anything that can be creative, I'm more than willing to just reach out and be like, hey, what do you think of this? How can we make it happen on the next project that we have the opportunity to do so? So the pre-production process, once you're onboarded to a project, the director or the producer reaches out to you, says that they want you on this project, you're gonna start your pre-production. So first and foremost, you're gonna look at the treatment. And I think right away, what you should really be thinking about is the visual language that you're gonna approach this project with. You want to be thinking about colors, you want to think about lighting, you want to think about camera movement, blocking, and how especially each scene is going to connect to the next one in the edit. And that's something you really want to start talking about with your directors, whether that's just your friend who's doing small music videos or small local commercials. Just take that extra time with them. Is push yourself as a cinematographer to really take things to another level with any way you can in the edit. That way, when you start building the shot list with your director and you start picking focal lengths for each scene, you can really have an idea of how things should connect in the edit, the energy, how fast you need to move the camera, do you need to do any rack focuses. So things that technically can inform the full project, you really need to start thinking about that fully in the pre-production process. And again, for me, I start thinking about colors, I start thinking about lens choices. I'm just trying to think of ideas that can just push the boundaries technically as much as I can with my knowledge, and I always want to make my projects a little bit better, even if it's 1%. And then the producer will reach out to you, it's like, hey, we need to pick a gaffer, we need to pick an AC, and that's kind of up to you. Start talking about how you want to light things with your gaffer. Do you want hard lighting? Do you want soft lighting? Do you need to have multiple lights already rigged up for a certain shot? Do you need to make the light bigger as a source to make it spread and be softer on your talent? Do you need to worry about eye lights? All these little things you should be asking with your crew members, and that's when it comes to lighting with your gaffer. And with your AC, you start talking to them about the camera builds and the rigs. Do you need to put it on a car? Do you need to put it on an ATV? Do you need to do a giant zoom lens? So you need more camera support to be able to support that lens. Do you need certain tripods? All these things you can just be talking about in the pre-production process with your key crew members, and they'll help you answer things that even if you don't have the answers to, they'll be able to offer some suggestions so you can make things happen within budget and within time frame. Experimenting, I think this is one of the topics that, again, it's not something you could just fully find on YouTube or Instagram, but for me, I personally am always trying to experiment on every single project, whether this means I'm using a new lens, whether it's a probe lens, a zoom lens, a fisheye lens, whether I want to use tighter focal lengths on the project rather than going really wide. Do I want to go on Super 35 camera? Do I want to go on a full frame camera? Do we need to shoot raw? Do we need to experiment with lighting and flashes and light gags that just can elevate the project? So really take your time and deep dive and try to think of new ways and experiment with new ideas and techniques that you haven't before on each project. And I'm telling you, your portfolio reel will just start compounding, adding up, and you'll be pretty proud of what you accomplished throughout the time frame because you've just been pushing yourself on each single project and you're not getting stagnant and just showing up and like, all right, we're gonna put the 50 on, we're gonna put the 75 on, we're gonna get the wide shot with a 24. How can you really push everyone in your crew and bring something really dope to life? Really just take, again, your time to go to rental houses, experiment with different lenses on a camera test day. See what attracts you visually as a cinematographer with certain focal lengths, certain aberrations, certain fall off on the lenses. Everyone has an individual style, and I think it's up to you to start really picking and defining what is going to define your overall look as a DP. Being selfless and collaborating with your crew, and I think you can start right now where you are, even if you're just working with 2 of your friends, you're shooting your local music videos for artists in your town. You really need to start taking the time and understanding that you're, as a DP, is not the most important person on set. Start working with friends who might be interested in art, and they could be your art department right now, because you need to start having an understanding of what it takes to be a DP when you start working with other crew members. An art department is one of the most important key departments on set. You know, they're putting everything inside their frame for you: the tables, the flowers, the vases, the curtains, the shears, the colors of the palette. They're the ones who are actually elevating the overall image for you. So you don't want to just be the person taking up all the time, setting up your camera, setting up your lighting, hoarding up the time, and then you just have a half-assed frame because your art department didn't have enough time to set things and decorate and move things around. And just really collaborate with them and look at the monitor. Hey, what if we put the couch over here? What if we angle the lamp over here? What if we put a certain type of rug? These processes are things you can work on now at the level you are, and that way when you start getting onto bigger sets, it's not so overwhelming because you have already an understanding of these are the people I need to be collaborating with. Learning beyond YouTube. I love YouTube. Obviously, I'm making a YouTube video right now, and I've learned so much about what I do on YouTube. But I would say more than not, I've learned more just actually doing the damn thing, picking up a camera, even if it was my FX3 and a 24-70, and shooting constantly all the time. Music videos, local ads, nonprofit videos, small restaurant commercials, gym commercials, everything that you can think of. I've probably shot it at the lowest level, just me, maybe a PA, for such a long amount of time that all those reps that I put in started adding up, just as skill sets, technical skill sets that I just built along the way, actually doing it, not just watching YouTube videos. And you have to go apply whatever you're watching in real life. You have to pick up the camera, and that's why owning a camera is so important, because at any given moment you can just pick it up and go test things out, go shoot things. How do you expose a camera perfectly? How do you use false color? How do you frame an image? How do you compose everything? So don't just stay stagnant watching YouTube tutorials and never putting that advice into real world practice. You have to go shoot, and that's why I say learn beyond YouTube. Pick up a American Cinematographer magazine. I mean, I literally have a stack right here, you know. American Cinematographer Society magazines, these are some of the best, I don't know, $40 I spend in a year. I get one every single month, and I'm always learning about how they shot movies, how they shot TV shows. The cinematographers are always breaking down their choices for camera movement, why they use certain dollies or jigs, or why they use a Steadicam. I mean, these are the people doing the big stuff, so why not take some time to read and not just watch YouTube videos and see the insights that they're giving. Also, just picking up, you know, certain cinematography books. This is a great book right here I picked up on Amazon, The Language of Camera, Filmish book. It has all the technical terms on how to actually use a camera on set. So normal lenses, eye level, low and high angle shot, close-ups, medium shots, wide shots, over the shoulder shots, physical types of camera movement. So don't just stay on YouTube. Pick up a book, pick up a magazine, but most importantly, pick up a camera and go actually test and experiment and push yourself as a DP. To wrap things up, making that transition from solo videographer to full-time cinematographer and working with larger crews, the most important key piece of advice that I can give you right now that you can start taking action on right now is just start building those foundational techniques, which is, again, pre-production. You can start doing that right now, even if you're not working with a full crew or even a director. It's just you and the camera. Start making your own shot list. Start picking a focal length for each scene that you're about to shoot. Start thinking about why each scene needs to connect and how it needs to connect in the edit, so your final results can already be elevated. When you start working with directors who will present you a treatment and a shot list, you already kind of have an understanding of how to break down a shot list, how to pick focal lengths, how to help the director envision how each scene is going to connect visually with the camera and the movement and the lighting. Again, if you just have a friend that you can maybe reach out to, they could just hold a light for you. Start working with whatever kind of piece of gear you have right now. You can apply all those same techniques with soft lighting, hard lighting, lighting gags, moving the light, turning off the light for a certain shot. You can build those foundational techniques right now, and when you work with a gaffer, you at least have some type of understanding how to communicate with them. Like, hey, I want soft lighting on my talent. I want to have a nice catch light. Maybe I want to go a little bit high key on the lighting, so we need to remove more of the shadow under their neck. Maybe they have darker skin, so I want to maybe light them a little bit with warmer light. All these foundational things you can start building right now and have those reps under your belt, so when you get the opportunity, you're well prepared. Like what Nipsey Hussle said, opportunity meets preparation. That's exactly what it is. I just lost the light, so let me light myself a little bit. I hope this video was valuable and you can walk away with some key understandings of what it takes to be a DP and what it takes to make that transition from solo videographer to cinematographer. I was just one not too long ago. It was just me, my FX3, 24-70, a gimbal, and that's all I really worked with. So thank you everyone for watching. Hope this video was valuable, and catch you on the next one. Peace.